Bitcoin is close to becoming worthless.
Let's go. Now, what's the Bitcoin?
Bitcoin's like rat poison.
Yeah. Oh,
The greatest scam in history.
let's get it.
Bitcoin will go to fucking zero.
Yeah.
Alright, you ungovernable misfits. I'm your host, Max. Everybody knows that Bitcoin is useless, worthless, and doomed to fail. But what if everyone's wrong? What if it's the system that is doomed to fail? Join me as I speak to some of the brightest people in the space and slither to the deepest, darkest depths of the Bitcoin rabbit hole. Welcome back to Bitcoin Monthly, the show you need if you want to keep up to date with all of the developments in Bitcoin, the things that matter outside of the price and the noise and the bullshit. If you want to know about software updates, you want to know how to use the tools, keep yourself private and secure, this is the show for you. If you've been listening for a while and you enjoy the show, we would really appreciate it if you can share this with friends and family who might be starting to use Bitcoin and help them avoid all the bullshit out there. Before we start, I want to thank everyone who's been sending in boosts. It really is incredible to see how this is growing. I think 70 or 80% of our listeners are now listening on Podcasting 2.0 apps, which is incredible. And every time we get streamed some sats or get sent in a boost or a question, we really do appreciate it. I also want to thank all of the Lightning disrespecters. Some of you will not use Podcasting 2.0, you will not use Lightning, but you are sending in Paynim boosts. That is very much appreciated, so thank you to all of you. And everyone who's been buying the clothing, buying the artwork, and sharing this show with friends and family. It all really helps. Finally, I want to say a huge thank you to Foundation Devices. Foundation Devices help keep this show running, and they do things properly. Everything they do is fully open source. Their hardware is absolutely beautiful, and it is fuckwit resistant. I use this all the time. I have no issues with it. I don't manage to break it like everything else. It is piss easy to use. And that's what you want from your hardware. You don't want to be worrying, getting scared, and making mistakes with your life savings. You can use their companion app, Envoy, which makes labeling very simple. You can do backups that are encrypted, so you keep all of your labels, or you can use this with Sparrow. It really is the best hardware out there. And if you are scared to do this by yourself, you can go to any of the guides out there that make it very simple. They have them all on the website as well. And if even that is too much for you, you can pay an extra $99 and you can have Bitcoin Q&A himself hold your hand and walk you through the process. Check them out at foundationdevices.com and use the code UNGOVERNABLE. It's lonely here, mate.
Just the two of us, back to the OGs.
Intimate.
Sounds a bit like Antomous, doesn't it? Intimate. Where is he?
He's got too big for us, I think.
I have it on good authority. Happy halving day, by the way. We're at time of recording, we are 93 blocks away from block 840,000. So halving is imminent. And I have it on good authority that the reason he is unavailable, shall we say, is that he's preparing for the Runes launch, which I believe is going to cause absolute havoc on the Bitcoin chain from the halving block. So he's probably getting ready to do some shitcoining again.
What's with this guy? It's like he's got this dark side to him, isn't it? Like Jekyll and Hyde. He's so sweet and nice and helpful half the time, and then half the time he's just a complete fucking degen.
Yeah, follow the money, I guess. Yeah, he's always nice, really smiley, you know, like you wouldn't
balling out.
Yeah, indeed. And then goes home and he's up till 3 a.m. trading JPEGs.
So it'll be today, will it? 100 blocks
So
today, isn't it?
yeah, the estimate is 92 blocks at the time of recording. The estimate is apparently it's jumped forward. 11 p.m. tonight, our time GMT. Well, +1.
Okay.
On the 19th of April. But it kind of depends which estimator website that you go to, because obviously they all calculate it at slightly different times and I guess in slightly different ways. So the one I'm using is watcher.guru, and yeah, it's saying like 10:57 tonight, which is nice because I'll probably stay up. That's like just about late enough for me to warrant maybe staying up for it. But previously, leading up to this week, it was going to be like 4 a.m. and 3 a.m. tomorrow morning, so obviously that's a no-go for me at least.
Yeah, I don't know whether I'm going to stay up. I like the idea of staying up and celebrating in some way, just like on my sofa. I'm not going to be going anywhere, but I like the idea of doing something.
I feel like it'd be like New Year's Eve every single year where you stay up and it's just a massive like waste of time.
A massive letdown.
Yeah, it's like, yay, midnight, and then you're like, okay, should we go to bed now?
Maybe I'll open my Have Fun Staying Poor whiskey.
Oh, there you go. What, it's actually called that?
Have you not seen it?
No? I'm not a whiskey drinker, so it wouldn't have come across my feed, I guess.
Are you in Telegram at the moment?
I am.
Right, I've just sent it to you.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, we don't fuck
What?
around.
Oh, hang on. You sell it?
Yeah.
How have I not seen this before?
It was bottled Genesis Block Day.
Wow. Okay.
That was actually January 3rd, 2009.
That's... how the hell have I not seen this before? For anybody listening, go to uncomfortablemisfits.com/shop/HFSP-whiskey to see some very artsy shots of a bottle of whiskey with the label is literally the Genesis block. Very nicely done. I'm embarrassed to say I've never seen this before. Oh, and there's a limited number of bottles as well. Oh, I love it.
There's not, I can't remember how many we got left, but I've got one on my shelf. Had it there for a couple of years, and I'm like, I'll save that for an occasion. And I don't know what that occasion is. It could be this evening. We'll see.
There you go.
Yeah.
I really wish I liked whiskey because I'd love to buy one, but it would be a complete waste of money on my behalf.
You just don't like it at all. You're more of a beer man, aren't you?
I am, yeah, just a beer guy, to be honest. I like IPAs, lagers, Guinness. Obviously, I've talked about Guinness all the time. That's my bag. Shorts, generally, I just don't play well with them.
No. What about wine? Do you ever get involved in wine?
Nope. No, much to my wife's dismay, she would love to share a bottle of wine. But yeah, it's just not for me. I just can't get on board with it.
She's got to have it all herself now. Bless her.
Boring palate. Yeah, well, yeah, every cloud and all that.
You're just not sophisticated enough.
That's what she keeps telling me. Maybe she's right.
You have to be sophisticated to get battered on wine.
Yeah, I can imagine, I again, can't speak from experience, but I can imagine the hangovers being horrendous from wine. I don't know why.
Red wine particularly, I always think is quite bad. When I've got fucking blasted on red wine, I quite often, like, if I've got really pissed, I'll wake up, I've got like dark red lips, just smashing the wine and just feel fucking awful. Whiskey also is one of the worst hangovers. White wine, not so bad, I don't think. I think it's the darker the drink is normally a worse hangover. Vodka's the least, isn't it? You get the least hangover from good quality vodka.
Yeah, I don't mind really good quality vodka because I always find that you can't really taste it much versus like, Tesco's own brand that costs you like £3 for a litre.
Paint thinners.
Exactly, yeah, that was exactly the term I was going to use. Oh, to be 16 again.
We'll see. I'll let you know if I end up getting absolutely smashed on whiskey. Have we got any updates or anything happening outside of the new block subsidy?
There is a fair few things on the list. I've had to prune it a little bit because it did become exceedingly long. So, yeah, I picked out a few things that are interesting that are taking place in the last month or so. Most notably, first off, Bitcoin Core version 0.27. Hold on. Didn't we move away from the 0 point something with Bitcoin Core and move to like 25 point something, blah, blah, blah? Yes, we did. Okay, so no bullshit Bitcoin, guys, if you're listening to this. It was your title that threw me off. The title says Bitcoin Core version 0.27, but then the actual quote is version 27. So yes, I am right, and served me right reading no bullshit Bitcoin verbatim.
They've let themselves down there.
They have. Well, yeah, I can't be too hard on them because if it wasn't for them, this list,
We wouldn't have a
the
list.
monthly list. Yeah, exactly. Or I'd have to do a lot more work, that's for sure. Yeah, so
Bitcoin Core,
go on.
before we
Yes.
go into it, I actually never pay attention to Bitcoin Core updates. Like, give it no attention at all. I never bother about updates, just never interested in it. Is that me being retarded, or is that kind of fair enough? Because it never seems like I can do anything different. I always think, well, I'll just fucking leave things as they are because they work.
Yeah, so there's probably two things for that. Number one, your node is a Ronin dojo, so when you don't physically directly interact with Bitcoin Core, when the devs behind Ronin update in the background, you just hit the update button in Ronin and you're running the latest version of Bitcoin Core. You don't have anything directly to do with it. And number two, yeah, because most of the changes are the following description may ruffle some feathers, but minor from a user perspective. Like there's never really any huge changes that are, I don't know, massively beneficial. But I'm going to contradict myself here because version 27, the one that was released just a couple of days ago, in fact, includes encrypted traffic, which is a big benefit, whether you know it or not, to all users.
That's massive, actually.
Yeah. So Seth from Foundation, one of my colleagues, did a good summary of this. So the feature title is P2P v2, peer-to-peer network v2. So that's turned on by default. So previously, running a Bitcoin node has always been easy to detect and surveil by your ISP. If you were running your Bitcoin node over ClearNet using the default port, blah, 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 your ISP could see basically all of the traffic that was going on between you and your peers. It was unencrypted. Not good for your privacy. The common fix for that was that most people used the Tor network, which is good and obviously gives very good privacy guarantees, but comes with it some trade-offs in that latency, Sybil attacks, slower block propagation, blah, 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 all that sort of stuff. So it works for most people in the default sense, but if you were not using Tor, then everything that was going on was visible to your ISP.
Actually downloading as you start it up takes forever.
Yes, it's horrendous.
Forever. Whereas I did one the other day on a more powerful machine running over a VPN, and it was done in like 11 hours.
Shit. Wow.
Start to finish.
Yeah, that's good.
That is a big difference.
Yeah. So with this P2P v2, all of the nodes that are running over ClearNet, not over Tor, will have their traffic between their node and all of their peers automatically end-to-end encrypted. So a huge win for those types of users, which basically means that your ISP can't do any simple logging of, what's going on in all of your traffic, i.e., are you just propagating an existing transaction? Are you broadcasting your own? That sort of stuff. So this is a pretty big win and probably one of the most notable improvements we've had from Core in some recent releases.
Of course, that's when I say something cunty like they don't really ever do anything useful. And that's like the first time.
I don't disagree with you, though. In fairness, most of the time, there's not anything huge to write about. And I guess, again, might ruffle some feathers, but in my opinion, it's probably a good thing. We don't really want huge sweeping changes regularly because, this is the reference client. This is what 99% of all nodes are using. We want it to be conservative. We want it to make slow incremental changes, and we don't really want to move fast and break things, right?
As we're talking about this, our Lord and Saviour, Michael Saylor, you know that he's my favourite person on the planet.
Likewise.
Without him, Bitcoin just couldn't survive. What a great guy.
Mm-hmm.
What's your thoughts on all this stuff that's kicking off and the sort of argument of, I don't want any changes, therefore I'm not supporting any development? Not that it's our business, it's his money, whatever the fuck he wants. Like, I'm not telling anyone to do anything, but have you got any thoughts on it? Because I haven't really paid a huge amount of attention, but I listen to it and I think, okay, I understand why you don't want any changes. Like, I'm not really keen on a lot of changes, but there is also stuff that needs doing and people do need funding. So what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, good question. So just to add a bit of context for those not in the know, Matt Odell came out and exposed, maybe that's not the right word, but communicated that he'd got knowledge of the fact that Saylor was lobbying some of the ETF companies to not contribute some of their profits to open source Bitcoin developers. And that one of these companies, I think it's been outed now as the Cathy Wood one. I can't remember the name of it now, but it's been outed. Yes, that one. Had actually listened to Sailor and then had taken the decision to not contribute to some open source devs. Initially, I was, as a FOSS advocate, I had a knee jerk reaction and was fairly outraged. I do think that for all we don't want huge sweeping changes, FOSS is important and Bitcoin software does need to be maintained. That's never going to change. And people need funding because they've got to live their life. So I was initially outraged, but then I kind of came around and, read some other thoughts and kind of shared what you just said of, well, okay, fair enough. It's his money. It's not for me to kind of dictate where he spends his funds. That's fine. From the ossification standpoint, he's just looking after his own self-interest. He's more balls deep in Bitcoin than most people on the planet, and he wants to protect his investments. Absolutely fair enough. I admire that. But to go out and actively try and discourage others from doing the same
bit cunty, isn't it?
in your words, a little bit cunty. But again, he's just acting in his own self-interest, which is kind of what Bitcoin is built to do, right? You look after the individual. So I've kind of come around to it a little bit. It doesn't make me like him anymore, to be honest. But yeah, I just think it's just a bit of a shitty move to go back channel in and try and discourage others from making valuable contributions to open source developers.
Agree. And it's a chance for everyone to reflect. If you ever go to a conference or have been to a conference and as that man walks on a stage, you start chanting sailor, 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 take a fucking long, hard look at yourself and question what you're doing here. It is really embarrassing. I agree he should do whatever the fuck he wants. We all should. But come on, we can do better than that.
All right, moving on. Software updates. Blue Wallet has released version 6.6.2, general UI improvements, and some bug fixes for PSBT related stuff. Nothing huge to write home about, but as always, make sure you're up to date. Talking about nodes, Umbrel have released their OS version 1.0, which includes a new UI, architectural overhaul, and the ability to kind of search through all of your apps and the app stores at the same time. Seems to be, aside from all of the FOSS stuff, which we've gone over time and time again, from a UX perspective, seems to be a big improvement to what was already something that looked pretty good and is, very popular amongst the first time node runner clientele. So good to see. And I think they've also released a subsequent update, version 1.1.0, which adds in the ability to view all of your stuff within the terminal. So if you are more of an advanced user, then you can, see what's going on under the hood as well.
Can people download the chain over Tor on Umbrel? Because I'm pretty sure some of these node packages you can't, and you have to do everything over ClearNet. And then you have the issue of, unless you have a VPN at the router level, which most people don't, then you can't run it over a VPN. And then you have to show your ISP what you're doing, which is not ideal.
Yes, yes, you can. So I believe I haven't done a new install on Umbrel for quite some time, but I believe that when you load the operating system, because it's more of like a wide-ranging home server type operating system versus like a dedicated Bitcoin node like a Ronin or something, you don't by default get Bitcoin to install. You have to go and say, okay, great, I've got Umbrel OS, I'm on umbrel.local. You then go to the app store and say, right, now I want Bitcoin. It's not like an automatic process. Before you do that, you can turn on Tor if it's not already on by default. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that you can do that.
Okay, because I don't think you can do it on Start OS. I don't think it's an option.
That might not mean that it's not an option. It might just mean that it's doing it over Tor by default.
I don't think it is. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, send a boost or a tweet or whatever, but I don't think so. So when I've tested it, I actually had to do it at the router level to make sure that it would actually download over Tor.
Interesting.
I only mention it because people need to be aware of these types of things because it's really not ideal. I've done it in the past and it's like, now I look back and I go, that probably wasn't ideal to do it over ClearNet.
Speaking of boosts, did we have any from the last show? I didn't know whether you had that prepped or not. I'm just going to drop that on you.
Yeah, do you know what? I haven't got it prepped, but I should have, shouldn't I? So why don't I look now while you fill for me so we sound more professional.
I'm not going to sing like John. I'm just not that guy, unfortunately.
I'm pleased because I have to deal with him twice every month and it's fucking tiresome.
I think he's got, if everything goes wrong with his daily job, I think he could moonlight as a tribute act or something.
Do you reckon?
Yeah. He's got a better voice than me, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's fair on me. Right, I'm into my little Saturn thing.
As a filler, if you're listening to this via a Podcasting 2.0 app, send us a boost. Why not?
Yeah, exactly.
Max works hard for this, so I believe he deserves some recompense.
Relatively hard. Hold on. Here we are. Bitcoin Monthly, episode 34. Sick of it, mate. Convicted on pseudoscience.
Was that the name of the show?
One.
I missed that one.
Convicted on pseudoscience. Expatriotic, haven't gotten through all of yours yet because I've added a few mining podcasts and now autistically going through all of their episodes. What a traitor.
There is only one mining podcast, isn't there?
Mm-hmm. There's only one that matters.
Yeah.
I think there are a couple of others that people occasionally listen to. It's a pointless exercise.
Agreed.
Solex, great work, guys. Thanks for all you do. Bon, thanks for another one, guys. See you next month. Great episode, pure signal as always. Apemithrandir, what have you got to say? Bisq, easy protocol, is purely reputational based. The buyer sends fiat first and the seller releases BTC. Sellers can import aged Bisq 1 accounts and burn. Okay.
Yeah, so it sounds like there's no escrow there, so you are a little bit more at risk if I'm inferring that correctly as a buyer.
Yeah, it sounds like it. That's the boosts. We received 33,735 sats that were split, except that they didn't go to Rabbit because he won't fuck around with Lightning. He thinks it's dirty.
So in that scenario, educate me, what happens? Oh, he just wasn't included on the split.
He just wasn't included, yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought there was like some sats being streamed to like a black hole somewhere.
No. He just won't get included.
Got it.
With that because he just thinks they're dirty and thinks he has to wash his little paws afterwards.
I think I might have said this before, but I want to say it again. Like, nothing gives me more joy than opening Zeus and looking at my recent transactions like the day or two after we released these monthly podcasts and seeing like 2 sats, 4 sats, 2 sats, 2 sats, 2 sats just on a regular basis. It's pennies or fractions of a penny. But like seeing that work and going straight to my own node, my own Lightning node, and yes, that's a headache and a hurdle, and I'm sure it's a headache and a hurdle for you guys on the podcast setup side as well. But
yeah,
if you're willing to go through all of those hoops, it does actually work. So if you are one of those people that are streaming sats, thank you. It does bring me joy.
That's good. That's what everyone aims for, just to bring you joy.
It's working.
And it's definitely like I've seen it grow a lot. And yeah, I have my issues with Lightning, but it really does help the show. And we're getting more and more listeners who are on the Podcasting 2.0 apps. Like we're massively skewed that way. I think the average, even in Bitcoin world, the average is like, 10% or 15% of people's total listener base will be on Podcasting 2.0. We're at like 80.
Wait, 80% of your listeners are on Podcasting 2.0 apps?
Uh-huh. We've
Holy
got a
shit.
massive skew that way. The other 20%, I imagine, is like all the samurai guys and everyone who are like the privacy people who are like, fuck Lightning, I'm not doing that shit. And some of them are doing pain-in boosts. So it's massively skewed that way. I think we're probably got more Podcasting 2.0 listeners than pretty much any other podcast in the world.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But a lot of that comes down to what Jordan's doing for us and doing all the GIFs and pumping it and mentioning it on the shows and all that kind of stuff. So there's work that's gone into it. And, it's nothing I'm doing. It's everyone else.
Yeah. I on the subject of Podcasting 2.0, I re-downloaded Fountain after trying it when it first came out. And big improvements. Like I could genuinely see that becoming my default podcast player now. It's very polished. It's, it's up there in terms of being a rival for the experience that you would see in like Spotify or Apple Music or something like that. So if you haven't tried it already, give it a whirl. And just to be clear, just because you use a podcasting 2.0 app doesn't mean that you have to give any sats away at all. It will work as just a default podcast player, but you then have the option to boost or stream sats if you want to.
What I'm quite liking as well is now we're using Saturn. Like I can go into an episode and I can see the timestamps of when people are boosting. I can see the bits that people particularly like or don't like, and that's quite an interesting thing to watch. So yeah, the whole ecosystem is interesting.
Is most of the boost coming through when we dunk on Antomous in the first 5 minutes?
Generally, it seems to always be when I'm speaking. There's very little with you, very little to no boosts, in fact.
Well, yeah, that's going to change on the next podcast, isn't it, listeners? If not, I'll fucking do it myself. Anyway, we digress. Back to the list. A big one. Whack-a-mole. Samurai has launched stage 1 of Whirlpool decentralization.
Ooh.
I'm going to do some verbatim reading here because this is an important one and, I don't want to butcher the descriptions. As of today, there is no longer a single hard-coded coordinator server that your mixing clients are looking for. Instead, coordinator server discovery is automatic through the encrypted Soroban network. This means that even if a coordinator goes offline unexpectedly, downtime and disruption will be minimal as clients use the Soroban network to find a replacement coordinator. We call this first stage of decentralization whack-a-mole. So they are very clear about this only being the first stage, and they allude to the fact that the next stage involves multiple coordinators working together, which again I presume will improve mixed frequency. Just surmising here, don't take my word for it. Creating and broadcasting TX zeros, which are the transactions you create to enter the Whirlpool, and mixing and remixing remains the same workflow. So as a Whirlpool user, you won't notice any difference. But for more advanced users, you will notice a change to the Whirlpool CLI logs where you can observe your client communicating over Soroban. Soroban is the peer-to-peer Tor connection layer that the Samurai team have built. This is a very cool improvement and kind of a great step in the right direction to safeguarding the Whirlpool ecosystem against the coordinator going offline. Now, why would the coordinator go offline? Well, it could be the server goes down. It could be, there's something hostile towards that coordinator server as well, where they could be forced to take it down. Who knows what it is? And, in the old state, if that were to happen, Whirlpool mixes just don't happen. It would stop. Nobody gains any more privacy. Now we're moving to a place where if one goes down, there is a natural and automatic process where clients will start looking for other servers, coordinators, excuse me. Thoughts?
Very cool. It's important because I think it's pretty clear the way things are going, and anyone who wants privacy is seen as a terrible person, something that isn't palatable to the rest of the world. That's scary. And so you could see that this could become a target, and the fact that they're being proactive, making sure that users are going to continue to have their privacy, which is, as we say all the time on the show, without the privacy, without services like Whirlpool, we're in a really bad state. So it's really, really good to see. As usual, they're ahead of the game.
Yeah, love to see it. And on the same note, if you're a running Dojo user and you're running the latest version, which I believe is 2.5.0, you'll already be running the latest Whirlpool client, which is contributing to this decentralized system. As well as that, the latest Ronin release has a new troubleshooting page, very useful for if you've got connectivity issues, something to do, problems with your disk, or you get the dreaded Fulcrum database corruption. There is some troubleshooting steps there that you don't have to go and search for. They're all within your own personal Node UI. And they've also improved the Whirlpool visualization that they've got within there as well, so you can see what's going on with all of your mixes, and now over the decentralized whack-a-mole service that has been rolled out. So good to see. Also, on the same vein, Sparrow Wallet v 1.8.5, Craig's finally pulled his finger out of his ass again, has also implemented the decentralized Soroban Whirlpool service. So basically, all of the big clients are already running this if you're up to date. Good to see. On top of that, obviously knowing Craig, that's not the only update. There are multiple other fixes. I'm just having a quick scan through the notes to see if there's anything notable worth mentioning. Add a button to display seed QR for a seed on the seed display dialog. Very cool. general UI improvements, but the main right to home one is the Soroban update.
I'm not sure about that.
Go on.
There's actually a much bigger update to Sparrow that you will have missed.
Go on.
Feature request. Somebody has put in a feature request and it's now been added. That's me. I think we can all agree now that I'm a shadowy supercoder and I'm pushing Bitcoin in the right direction. I asked for a major update so that you could search transaction IDs and you could then actually label wallets from the search area rather than having to click out of it. And Craig said, I can't believe I hadn't thought about this. He offered me a job. He said, I've been doing this myself for a long time. There's a massive burden. I'd really like you to come on board and help. And I said, look, I really appreciate it, mate. I have a huge amount of respect for you, but I'm just too busy at the moment.
Is that in 1.8.5?
Let's have a look. The Search All Wallets feature using the TXID is a massive help. I would love to be able to label within the search window if possible. Currently, I copy TXID and I paste it into Search All Wallets. I then click on the first transaction and label before researching and clicking on the second to label. If we could label in the search window, it would be half the work. I know this is a minor inconvenience, but it adds friction when labeling a lot of old transactions and wallets. Thanks. And then Craig just wrote, added. You can now edit labels directly in the search wallet dialog.
What a guy. What a guy.
He's
And
incredible.
for those listening, this just proves that you can be a complete and utter idiot and still contribute to open source projects.
Yeah, I felt really cool. I was like,
inspiring.
I am a dev.
For real, though, that's very cool. And that just goes to show two things. Number one, you don't need to be technical to contribute to open source projects. And number two, what was I going to say? Number two. Oh, yeah, like the beauty of open source, like you just literally DM'd the developer behind this and he was like, yeah, okay, that's a good idea. That's not always going to be the case because not everybody has good ideas all the time. But if it is a good idea, you could do that with Apple, could you? You couldn't just go, hey, Mr. Jobs, he's dead, I know. I can't remember the new guy's name.
Yeah,
can
you'll
you just
struggle
do
with
this?
that one.
Yeah, can you do this? And be like, no, that's not going to happen. So very cool. Well done, mate.
Yeah, well, actually, I did DM him and then he said, look, can you do it as a proper feature request and make a GitHub and all that?
I remember.
I actually did it the correct way because normally I'll just like DM people and whatever. But so I actually had to do something in the proper channels. And so, yeah, I did it on GitHub. That's why I am now a dev. I've been using Sparrow more and more recently. I've been trying to simplify my setup somewhat and make things a little bit cleaner, and finally getting on top of the fact that I lost all of my fucking labels a couple of years back. So I've sat the last couple of weeks every time I have a spare bit of time and just been going through and doing like my own chain analysis on myself to try and work out what the fuck has gone on. And using Sparrow has just been an incredible help. The fact that I could open all my wallets and I can search between them just means that like I can very quickly get a TXID, search all wallets, and then it will come up with, okay, well, this was sent from this wallet to this wallet. And then I know, okay, that's a self-spend. Rather than just having a question mark next to it, it's like, oh, okay, I know where that's come from. I know it's gone to myself. And so I've probably 80% of the stuff that was just a fucking huge question mark, I've now cleared up. And that is thanks to this incredible software.
Love it. Love it. A bit of alpha news that we've just been talking about 1.8.5, but probably going to be in the next release because the pull request was only merged yesterday. You're going to be able to import the samurai.txt backup file into Sparrow, which presumably will also include labels, etc. as well. So that's very cool. So if the Samurai backup is the only one you've ever had, and then you want to migrate or mirror the wallet in Sparrow, maybe for some desktop mixing or something like that, that's going to become a lot easier within the next release.
Very nice.
Are you going to add open source contributor to your Twitter bio now?
I already have, mate.
Oh, love to see it. Okay, more open source stuff. The async team behind the Phoenix wallet have released something called Phoenix D. which is essentially, well, I'll read it verbatim from No Bullshit Bitcoin. Phoenix D is a minimal, specialized Lightning node designed for developers and businesses that makes it easy to send and receive Lightning payments without compromising on self-custody. It's basically Phoenix for mobile, except it runs on a server. So probably not on the surface of interest to many people listening to this, because they're like, well, okay, why don't I just run Phoenix on my mobile? It works very well as you know, in terms of Lightning. Why do I need this? This could be, well, probably will be installed on all of the node packages that support Lightning. Let's run through a scenario. You download Umbrella, Raspberry Blitz, and you go through the setup process. That's only half the battle right now with Lightning. If you then want to go and interact with the Lightning Network, you then need to deposit some funds, figure out who to open a channel with, open the channel, figure out the right amount, manage that channel, blah, 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 all that sort of stuff, which is absolutely possible. You know, even idiots like me can do it. But what this will enable you to do is install the Phoenix D app, and then just somebody's bound to build a GUI around it. And then you just be able to use, I'll call it like automatic Lightning, where Phoenix does all the heavy lifting for you, but it runs kind of on your server, so that you don't have to do all of the node management stuff and all of the channel management stuff and all of the headache shit, basically. So I can see this being used by normie users that kind of want the Lightning experience without the overhead of doing all of that channel management stuff. Yes, as is always the case with the Phoenix ecosystem, you're going to pay fees for that. You know, they're a business at the end of the day, but I think there's definitely a market for this. Outside of that, obviously, this is going to be pretty big for as they alluded to on No Bullshit Bitcoin, for businesses and stuff. If they want to start receiving and sending Lightning payments, and maybe they've already got over that initial hurdle of the understanding importance of running a node or something like that, but they don't want any of the extra headache, this is probably in its end state going to make the Lightning side of things much easier for them. Speaking of Phoenix, the wallet version 2.2.2 has been released, and they have updated their fee estimation for on-the-fly channels, which is now 1% plus a mining fee. And then some iOS-specific bug fixes, support for importing a seed in different languages. Can't see many people using that, but today I learned. And then just some other bug fixes in the background as well. So continuing to iterate the async TMAR. Good to see.
Importing a seed in different languages? What do you mean
Yeah,
by
so,
that?
well, BIP39 is predominantly used in English. There's a list of English words, but that's not the only language that BIP39 defines. There are other languages. I don't know how many there are.
Oh, I didn't know
and
that.
not many people use them. Even people in, I don't know, Spain, 99.9% will use the English words because that's what most of the compatible wallets use. But BIP39 does define different languages. It's just, like I say, not widely used, but Phoenix have added support for that.
Is it the same list of words but just translated into a different language and then it recognizes those words? Or is it a different list?
Short answer, I don't know. If I was to guess, I'd say for the most part, there's bound to be some words that don't translate or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, not sure. But it's not something I would advise people rush out and do, is making seeds in Czech or something like that, because not all, you know, if that wallet, wherever you create that, goes away and you can't access it, you know, you might have difficulties importing that elsewhere because 99.9% of them just use English words.
Yeah. I didn't even know that was a thing. So, okay, interesting.
That just goes to show how little it's used, right? BTC Pay Server v1.13.0 updated branding and the ability to invite users via email, send them email and links and things like that. You can now add custom names and logos to your servers. And there's been some added kind of store roles as well. So if you're a server admin of a BTC Pay server, you can now set different kind of functionalities for different users that presumably will have different privileges, etc. Other integrations, they've got integrations with some more shop fronts, which is good to see. And I think that's about all of the headlines. Okay, Nunchuk version, they don't have a version number. Come on, no bullshit Bitcoin, what are you playing at? There is no version number. They just have a consolidate coins feature. That's the reason I put this one in. They've got a new onboarding flow, and they also have a consolidate coins feature. So quite timely with the mempool. This is Nunchuk.
That sounds like a terrible idea.
Well, let me explain. Go on. Why do you think it's a terrible idea first?
Well, it sounds to me like there's just going to be a button that says consolidate, and then someone's just going to go, oh, I'll press that, because they hear that that's going to save them on fees, and then they're going to fuck themselves with their privacy. That's just what I'm guessing, but maybe it's smarter than that.
Yeah, so you're on the right track. Right now, in most Bitcoin wallets, if you wanted to consolidate, you need a couple of things. Number one, you need coin control because you need the ability to select the coins that you want to consolidate if you're not just doing the whole wallet. And then you need to kind of copy one of your own receiving addresses first, then go into the coin control, say, right, coins XYZ, want to send them to this address, which is in my wallet, create the transaction, sign the transaction, and then they go to the new address within your own wallet. So it's a manual process where you're just doing a bit of copy and pasting. What the Nunchuk guys have done basically is cut out the copy paste bit, so you can just go look at your coins, select which coins you want to consolidate, and then you'll get a pop-up menu where you can have the option to send them. There is now, as you suggested, a consolidation button.
But you have to manually select them.
Yes, yeah. So you've got to go into your coin view first. So you're not going to stumble across this and screw up, right? What's unclear to me, and if I was building this, and we probably will add this to Envoy, is a little warning. When you do click consolidate to say that yes, this might save you fees in the long run, but it could be detrimental to your privacy as well. Seems like a pretty low lift additional warning to make the users aware of what they're doing, but for me, if you've got that far and you're taking that decision, most people are going to be, cognizant of the kind of trade-offs.
I don't know whether they are, though. I sometimes get the feeling people aren't really thinking about this and that maybe we're in a bit of a bubble. Like sometimes if I go on Twitter and I see people talking about this type of stuff, there doesn't seem to be any consideration whatsoever for labeling or where the transactions have come from or...
Oh, no. Yeah.
Is this... I do feel, just because of the people that we speak to on a consistent basis, like I do think we're in a bit of a bubble. I don't think people are necessarily making the decision like, oh yeah, I know what I'm doing here and I just don't care. I think it's more, oh, I just see other people are doing this consolidation. I hear the fees are going to go up. I'm going to end up with a bit more Bitcoin if I do this, so I'm going to do this. And they don't have all the information. And that's why I was concerned when you first said it. It sounds like people aren't going to stumble so much, but I just don't think they're even fucking thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's very much flavor of the month for the influencer sphere, isn't it? Halving's coming up, fees are going to skyrocket. You need to do all your consolidations quickly, which, I agree with to a certain extent, but, it's not like, this isn't like a cliff that we're going to fall off and fees are never going to come back down ever.
Yeah.
I disagree with maybe scaring people into consolidating coins prematurely and being detrimental to their privacy. So, but having the option there is good. But yeah, I would urge people, don't go make any rash decisions unless you've got any really small UTXOs. We're talking like probably, in my opinion, 100 or 200,000 sats per UTXO. Then you haven't got much to worry about, in my opinion.
Yeah, and just think about what you're doing, and if you've labeled them, it's okay. Just like, it's fine if it's, you've got a load of smaller UTXOs that you've been paid back by the same mate for beers and you know them well enough and you're going to consolidate those. And it's like, okay, that's not the end of the world. But don't start tying a load of stuff that's from Coinbase to other stuff that's from somewhere else, that's from other stuff from someone you don't trust. And suddenly now they're seeing all your transactions. Like, it's just very fucking stupid to do that to save a few pennies.
Agreed. Yep. Okay, Zeus version 0.8.3 has been released. They now have coin control for the LND wallet, the on-chain side of the LND wallet. Very good to see, again, from a privacy standpoint. And a personal favorite of mine, because I'm a heavy Zeus user, you can now add custom pictures for your different nodes and wallets so that you can quickly distinguish between them. Up until now, they all had this kind of weird, like, default kind of NPC sort of profile picture, and they all kind of look pretty similar. So very useful feature for me personally. And a little bit of alpha on the next release or big release of Zeus v0.9 may or may not, keep this to yourself guys, have some air-gapped hardware wallet support where you can open and close lightning channels to and from your hardware wallet device.
I can't imagine which hardware device this might be.
Well, I know for certain that one of them is being worked on, and I dare say I'm sure that others will follow suit because all of the QR-based ones follow the same standards. So it makes sense that you do the work for one, it's going to be there for them all as well, which is obviously a huge benefit. for the ecosystem. So, and just to spell that out, we'll probably dive into this when it's actually out, but we're on the topic now. Right now, if you want to take some funds from a hardware wallet and then open a Lightning channel, you need to do one transaction to go from the passport to the on-chain side of the Zeus wallet. And then you need to do another transaction to use the hot wallet within Zeus to then open the Lightning channel. So there's two. Mm-hmm. And then if you wanted to close the channel, there's a third one. And then if you wanted to send those closed funds back to cold storage, that's a fourth transaction. So in the life cycle of going from cold to Lightning back to cold, 4 transactions. Again, if fees continue to rise, that's very, very expensive and may negate a lot of the quote unquote gains that or savings that you have from using Lightning in the first place. So with this, and again, I haven't tested this. I've just been speaking to Evan, and obviously he's testing it and he's building it, but I'm looking forward to getting my hands on it in the next couple of days. It will be one transaction from cold storage from your passport that will populate the LND wallet and open the channel at the same time. And then on the flip side, when you close it, straight back to cold storage. So going from 4 transactions to 2. So a pretty big, a big saving in fees, and also a big removal of a UX hurdle, because it's always driven me insane thinking, well, why have I got to do 2 transactions? Why have I got to send to another on-chain wallet first before I then go and open the Lightning channel? Mm-hmm. It just seemed wasteful. So yeah, a big win.
Very nice. I haven't used Zeus in like 4 years or something like that.
It's awesome.
Is it?
Now that they've got the LSP side of things where it kind of mimics, Breeze or Phoenix. Maybe not Phoenix because it doesn't have splicing yet, but it does all of the automatic channel management alongside all of the on-chain stuff and the remote node stuff where you can have it talk to your Raspberry Blitz or something like that. Very, very full featured. You can do a lot of shit with Zeus.
Okay. I'm going to have a play. It's on the list, but I keep talking about doing it, and then I mention it to you and you're always like, look, Max, just stick with Wallet of Satoshi. It's by far the best. And I always take everything that you say very seriously.
That made me choke on my juice then. What was I going to say? And also another shill for Zeus. If you are a Noster nerd, you can import your contact list and just pay people directly like you would in Revolut or Venmo.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. You mentioned that on the last one. I actually think that is quite a cool feature.
100%. Yeah, tap on somebody's face and just press send, enter an amount, job done. No awful copy pasting invoices and all that crap.
No, that's really slick. I like that a lot.
Bitcoin Keeper have released a couple of versions since we last recorded. The 1.2.1 included support for Taproot wallets, and the 1.2.3 has introduced fee insights, so more detailed view on your fees. I don't know what this means, but it sounds intriguing. Multiple mediums possible for any signer, and you also have the ability to hide and delete wallets and vaults. Very strange that you wouldn't be able to delete a vault before now, but good that they've now added that. Blockstream Green, Android v4.0.27 and iOS 4.0.26, and also desktop 2.0.3 has been released. They've added push notification support for Lightning payments, single sig, liquid, watch only descriptors, and other stuff relating to bug fixes and whatnot. If you're a Blockstream Green user, check that out. Last one on the list, Raspberry Blitz version 1.11.0. They've enabled support for NVMe PCIe hats. A lot of letters there. That's basically just an improved storage option. New documentation and various updates to all of the software applications that come pre-packaged with the Raspberry Blitz. Very steady, stable project. They've got a lot of time for those guys. They just sit there quietly and just ship.
As we've gone through all the news updates, I've got one especially for Antomous that he will absolutely love. As I was going through all of my old wallets and cleaning things up, I found an old wallet from a very long time ago. I won't say which wallet so that I keep my privacy, but I found some old
Was it Wallet of Satoshi?
Coin. It wasn't Wallet of Satoshi, no. I found some old shitcoin dust from I don't know how many years ago, but I had a little bit of ETH and then a little bit of like other coins that you get free, part of some yield shit. I don't know what it was, but like a load of random things I've never even heard of. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know I had these. Then I managed to swap them using a swapping service, and it was enough to pay for a dinner the other night. So some proper shit coining.
Love it. Yeah, it's always
Yeah.
exciting when you find a seed words or a set of seed words or a wallet or something like that you've long since forgotten about. Unfortunately for me, anytime I ever do that, it's always completely empty.
Empty.
Yeah.
I thought, I'm sure there'll be nothing on here. I haven't used it in fucking forever. I thought, well, I'll just have a look. So I had a quick look, and then it was like, I think what it was like below the limit of what I could swap out years ago. Like it was too small an amount. But because obviously the values have gone up, now just on the limit of like, okay, you can swap this out. And it was like, I don't know, 60 quid's worth or something like that. And I was like, oh, very nice. Swapped that out to Bitcoin and yeah, paid for dinner.
Nice. What did you have?
I
No
had
veggies.
some seed oils. No veggies, no. No, I didn't actually have a dinner. I'm too tight for that. I just swept it, and it will pay for a dinner one day if I ever want to treat myself.
Nice find.
I've fallen off the wagon with the food, actually, quite badly.
Oh, really?
Yeah. At the beginning of the year, I was all like, I'm bulking and I'm doing all this gym and stuff. I've been too fucking tired. The alarm goes off. I'm just like, I cannot physically do any more stuff in my day. So there's been no training because I'm all or nothing. I'm like, well, I can't train at the moment. I just don't have the fucking energy. So I might as well have a pizza. And now I've had a pizza, I might as well have a fucking curry as well.
It's tough, isn't it, man? It's an easy trap to fall into, isn't it? And you find yourself going around in circles. You'll get back to it.
I will eventually, but it's horrendous. I'm starting to get some love handles now. Starting to just get a bit sort of flabby, you know, that sort of feeling. We probably don't because you'd be ripped and strong, and roboty. But yeah, it's not a good feeling. So I need to sort that out.
Well, somebody needs to boost this section of the show with, let's say, 10,000 sats to call Max a fat shit.
10,000 sats, and someone calls me. I'd prefer a FFC. I have like a little. My missus was on my camera reel the other day, and she's like, "What's this FFC? Why have you got a separate FFC? Why have you got this separate FFC folder?" And I was like, "Yeah, fat cunt." It's a picture. I just do these like every month or so. I like do a couple of pictures and just like how much of a fat cunt I am. If someone does send me 10,000 sats with FFC on it, I will get my arse in gear, and I promise I will start training and being less of an FFC.
Don't let me down, listeners. I believe we have some questions, or you have some questions, Max.
Yeah, I do actually. So these are all sort of questions from me messing around and trying to not consolidate UTXOs, but just make things a bit more simple and also plug some holes in my setup. One of my questions was, if I am doing backups of all my wallets and labels, my concern is if someone is to find that, although they wouldn't actually have access to funds, they couldn't actually sweep anything, they could actually see sensitive information, which would be very bad. I wouldn't want that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
As I'm doing my backups, obviously I have like password protection on each wallet if I'm exporting that out of Sparrow. But I was thinking it'd be quite nice if I'm doing it onto a micro SD, or if I'm doing that onto a separate drive, to actually encrypt that drive or that micro SD. The advice I was getting was like, oh yeah, just use Veracrypt and go through this guide and do this and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm sure I probably could work this out given time. But I thought, isn't there a way that we could do this in Passport? Like, isn't there a way that I could take that micro SD and somehow use that signing device to encrypt and decrypt other stuff?
Okay, couple of things here. I think you're already doing the best practice, right? So I'll come at this from two perspectives: Sparrow first, and then Envoy, because those are the two you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned that you've got a password on your Sparrow wallets, the wallet files, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And you're using that as your backup of the wallet, including labels, yeah?
Yes.
It's already encrypted then. It's encrypted by the password.
I know it is. What I don't like about it is if someone was to get hold of that drive or that micro SD, although they couldn't get access to that wallet, they could see that it was a wallet. So they would go on and they'd see like, I can't remember what it would be, like .sparrow or whatever, and then .wallets, and you know, they could see that. And then so my concern would be, I don't want to have like the most ridiculous password to get in to view my wallets because I'm not actually able to spend from them without using the hardware anyway.
Mhm.
So I don't want to have like something that's really difficult for me to remember and like really, really fucking secure. I don't want to have to go and get seed plates and dig them up from the garden to then put that in every time I want to fucking access and look at my wallets. In an ideal world, what I would prefer is for someone not to access the drive at all, because if they saw that .sparrow, they might go, let's see if we can actually break this. Do you see what I mean? I know that's like massively over the
Yeah.
top. I get that. I
Yeah.
know it's over the top.
Okay. Well, you could, depending on what you name the file, it could just be like holidayphotos.mv.db. It doesn't
Dick
have to
pics.
reference Sparrow. Yeah, exactly. Which nobody's going to look at.
No.
It doesn't have to reference Sparrow. Obviously, people in the know would know that Sparrow backup files are .mv.db, but to the untrained petty thief or nosy family member, holiday pics 2022.mv.db is probably uninteresting. In terms of like encrypting a drive, I don't know. I just think you're just adding unnecessary complexity, in my own opinion. Like it's already encrypted as long as your password is good enough. It's not going to be hackable. So that the extra complexity just doesn't seem worth it to me. I guess what you could do to keep it a little bit simpler would be saving the Sparrow backup file into like a password manager or something like that, which is obviously encrypted by its own password. But then you've got it's behind two passwords then. Again, I'm running full circle. You're just adding complexity, which the juice isn't worth the squeeze, in my opinion. Like you correctly said, even if somebody was to break the password, load it into Sparrow, all they can do is see it. Yes, that's not desirable, of course, but if you're using a hardware wallet like Passport, they can't spend anything. So you've already mitigated the biggest risk.
This is why I'm asking if it would be possible with Passport. And the reason I'm asking that is I understand that it's over the top. I understand that it's adding complexity. I understand that people can't spend anyway without actually having the signing device and access to that. They can't actually spend any funds. So I get all that. That's why I'm asking if it's possible with Passport, because I can't spend without access to my Passport. So if I can't access that and I didn't have my seed words, I'm fucked. Knowing that I have access to the Passport, if I could encrypt and decrypt only with the Passport, then I would be in a much better position. I'd get the extra security. It would be an encrypted file containing another encrypted file, and only if someone had access to my Passport could they access it. Do you see what I mean? So it's like I'm already using all those parts.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I see where you're heading. Yeah, let's take that offline and I'll take some notes on it. I think it's worth exploring. Don't know whether it would be the easiest thing to do with our architecture, but I guess if you did it all via the micro SD card, it would be possible for sure.
That's why I'm asking, because it's like you can already put micro SD in there. It's already doing the signing. I'm fucked without that piece of the puzzle anyway. No one has access to that piece of the puzzle anyway, and if they did, I'd lose everything anyway. So it's like it's an extra step that doesn't really take a lot more, but it does add more protection, and it'd just be a cool feature.
Noted. Is there another one?
Yeah, so updating software safely, I sort of try and leave things as they are if they work. And I don't tend to do too many updates unless it's like a critical bug or there's an issue. And sometimes I'm concerned about doing updates and verifying and things like that. What's your advice for people, or is there a particularly good guide for verifying? I know that Sparrow now has something that will help with this, but I think sometimes people, especially if they're like particularly technical, don't understand how scary it is for midwits like me.
Yeah, so as you correctly said, Sparrow now has its own built-in tool that will verify software releases of other projects, so like Passport, Seed Signer, etc. It doesn't work for everything because of not everybody does signed releases in the exact same way. So Sparrow will work for most things. But generally, the best advice if you want to learn how to verify a specific piece of software is to look at that specific piece of software's documentation. There will be differences between them, and most of them will have step-by-step guides. Sparrow is no different, Passport, Envoy, all the same. We all have step-by-step guides on how to verify all these, and that will be specific to the piece of software. Once you've done it a few times for different software, you'll kind of start to learn the differences between them. And there's only like maybe 3 or 4 ways you can actually do this. So once you've done one of those each, you'll start to pick it up and it'll become second nature. But yeah, Sparrow is a really good gateway drug. It's got like a good graphical user interface where you can just kind of drag and drop files. So as long as you know how to identify like a signature file or a manifest file and be able to download that, which is kind of like a prerequisite for this whole thing anyway, then Sparrow makes it fairly easy. So yeah, that's a good place to make your first port of call. But, putting my, I guess, hackerman hat on, if you're only ever doing it that way, then you're putting your trust into Sparrow a little bit as well, which, again, I'm going down the tinfoil hat route here because Sparrow is well vetted open source software. But as a starter, it's a good start. But I would urge people to learn how to do it with independent software and maybe even the command line if you fancy taking the challenge on.
I think maybe people who should be verifying software maybe aren't, and maybe it would be good if there was a guide we could point them to.
Yeah, so I produced one a while back. I think it's still valid. I need to double check it. But if you go to bitcoiner.guide/verify software, run you through how to do it with using Spectre in the command line as an example.
Okay.
That will be applicable to most of the common ones. There's a good video, a recent video that a guy called Southern Bitcoin has done using the Sparrow process to verify seed signer and a cold card firmware. I've just dropped that into our Telegram chat. Maybe you can include that into the show notes. That's a good one to get to grips with the Sparrow side of things.
Yeah, that'd be good. Thank you, mate.
Cool. Are you done with your question? Because I've got one from Noster this morning.
Yeah, I think I'm done, mate.
So, a chap called Madood asked, what are the privacy pros and cons of buying through RoboSat using Strike fiat payments and storing in liquid? Is Whirlpool still necessary? Okay, a couple of questions rolled into one here. So, privacy pros and cons of buying through RoboSat using Strike as a fiat payment. No different to using any other banking system as part of a peer-to-peer trade here. So, your bank won't learn that you're buying Bitcoin from somebody else. All they see is that Q is sending £100 to Max's bank account. Obviously, Max will learn my real name because it's tied to my bank, and I will learn Max's because I'm sending to his bank. So, you are sharing very small amounts of information, but it's with a direct peer rather than a regulated exchange. The fact that you mentioned Strike here as the fiat rail makes no difference. They're kind of all much the same. Storing it in liquid, yeah, I guess if your goal here is to do it as cheaply as possible, then maybe liquid is a good option. But obviously, we've spoken at length on the show before around the trade-offs with liquid. It seems to have okay base level or layer 1 or liquid layer privacy. They have confidential transactions, confidential amounts, etc. But there's basically nobody using this chain, so you're not really hiding in a very big crowd. So there is timing attacks and amount correlation on the peg in and the peg out side as well that could be a consideration, as well as obviously you're giving custody of a Bitcoin to a federation of Bitcoin companies, which to me is a red line, and I could never in good faith recommend that. But
you're so old school, mate. You got
I just to kind of play devil's advocate on myself here. He mentioned RoboSats, so he might be buying like, I don't know, 30, 40 quid's worth of sats, which right now you could eat up 10, 15, 20, maybe even 50% of that after the halving in fees if you took that on chain to store it. Now, nobody's going to do that because why would you buy 40 quid's worth of sats and then send it on chain and lose half of it? So I can see the allure of like solutions like liquid. So, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying that I wouldn't recommend it because it is giving somebody else custody. But if you're comfortable with that trade-off and you want to save on those fees, yeah, it's not the worst option in the world, because there is literally no other option other than obviously keeping it in the Lightning Network, which would be the better option in my opinion, providing you're using a non-custodial option like Zeus or Phoenix, etc. And then, is Whirlpool still necessary? Yeah, absolutely. Anytime that you want to interact with Bitcoin layer 1 or even the Lightning Network, you've got to open that channel from a UTXO somewhere. It makes absolutely perfect sense to have good privacy with that UTXO or those UTXOs before you do take any of those actions, because, as we all know, what you do on chain is permanent. So put up that brick wall in your Bitcoin on-chain history and use Whirlpool. None of this negates that, in my opinion. That was the only question I had through from Noster. I will give a public apology to the Bitcoin lawyer who posed the question about the Linux XZ vulnerability. I just haven't dove into it, so I wouldn't be able to speak with any level of coherence on that one. So my apologies, and I will do better next time.
Yeah, apologies from me as well. I fully understand the whole situation. I've gone into a lot of detail with it, but I desperately need a piss, so we're going to have to close this out.
Right, thanks for that, mate. Do you think we'll have Antomous back next time? I'm sceptical. I think this halving, all this rune stuff's going to drag on for a little bit. I think that'll keep him busy.
I think so. I think he's going to make so much money that he's just going to be on some yacht somewhere and think, fuck this, I can't be bothered. But we'll see. Maybe he'll surprise us.
You can all send your applications to become the presenter now that Antomous is gone to hello@ungovernablemisfits.com.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
Boosts will be taken into consideration, so the bigger the boost, the higher up the pecking order you will come.
Can confirm. Alright mate, I'm going to go and piss myself, so I'll speak to you later.
Thanks mate, catch you again.
Thanks for listening. I really hope you enjoyed that. If you get value from this show, please do consider sharing this with friends or family. It all helps us grow. And if you haven't yet checked out ungovernablemisfits.com, go and have a look. We've got articles, we've got podcasts, clothing, artwork, and much more. If you have any questions about the topics we've discussed, or you have any other topics you'd like us to cover, you can boost us, you can tweet us, I think you can Noster us, but you have to do that through Q&A because I can't be asked. Catch you on the next one.
Just